So you did the hard work, you applied for the job, you went on the interview, and now you got the job offer. Yay! She got the job, she got the job, she got the job. We're celebrating, but the hard work is not done yet. We still need to negotiate. I'm going to teach you how to negotiate like a pro. I'm Ashley. I'm the lead mentor with Mentor Me, and today we're going to be talking about how to negotiate like a professional. It is critical that you know and understand how to negotiate when you receive job offers so that you're not leaving any money on the table, that you're building a comprehensive plan for your compensation and all of the other things that you should be considering when you are applying for jobs. Plus, we're going to talk about the things that you can negotiate. I think that when it comes to job opportunities, of course, folks are thinking about salary negotiation and making more money and, getting more money on top of the offer. But that's not the only thing that you should be thinking of. There are other considerations, other things that you should be negotiating in every single job offer. And so I'm going to talk to you about those things. So let's dive in. So like I said, and these strategies can be used both, externally when you're applying for a new role outside of your existing organization. You can also, apply these strategies when you're asking for a raise and promotion in your current organization. There are a couple little tweaks that you want to consider when you are going up for internal raises and promotions, and I'll point those out. So the first thing that you want to do when you get a job offer is celebrate, right? I think that when it comes to, finding and securing a new role, oftentimes, we do this hard work to position ourselves as experts. So, update our resume, our cover letter, our LinkedIn to prepare for these interviews. We might feel like a nervous wreck when we go on these interviews and, we're asking questions to the employer to make sure they're a good fit for us. And we're answering questions to really position ourselves as a top candidate. And we finally get the offer. And instead of celebrating and getting excited and honoring the hard work, we freak out and we get nervous and we're like, oh my gosh, I have to negotiate. What about this? And what about that? And what about this? And what about that? And so before you spiral into a million, what about this and what about that? I just want to invite you to celebrate yourself, celebrate the hard work that you did to get to this point in your career. This is a very competitive job market, and it's no easy feat to find and secure a role where you are the top candidate and you get the offer. And while the hard work does not end there, it's not all about just getting the offer. I do want to invite you to celebrate yourself, to celebrate, the hard work that you did to get to this point in your career. And often, even my mentees in my program, often my mentees are getting 2 and 3 offers when they're in my program. And, they come on the call casually like, yeah, Ashley, I got a job offer today, but I don't know about this and I don't know about, and I'm like, whoa. We're not just going to breeze past that. Like you didn't just get a $10, $15, $20, $30,000 salary increase, right? We have to celebrate that. And I get it that sometimes, you're just on to the next. You're such a high achiever. You put in the hard work, so you're not always able to celebrate yourself, or maybe you're not in an environment where people celebrate you, where they honor, the good work that you did. But here, I'm going to always honor your hard work, your good work, and we are going to celebrate every time that you hit a milestone, right? Every callback, every, application submitted, every interview, we're going to celebrate that. So, I want you to get in the habit of celebrating yourself. So like I said, we get the job offer, and even before we begin negotiating, we want to just celebrate that milestone of getting that offer. The next thing we want to do is, typically job offers these days are coming by phone, right? They of course will likely send you an email confirming the job offer, but typically, employers are picking up the phone and saying, hey, Carisha, we really appreciate you taking the time to interview with us. We really enjoyed what you had to say about, your expertise and skill set, related to the role. We'd like to offer you this job, right? So typically those job offers are coming over the phone. And that's a good thing because it gives you an opportunity to kind of hear from them, what they're saying about you, what they really valued about your interview, what they value about your candidacy, and why they want you to be a part of that team, right? So that's the time to turn on that listening ear. When you get a call, give giving you a job offer, you want to listen intently to what they are saying in that conversation. Every compliment they give, everything they say about you, everything they say about why they want you on their team and why they think you're a good fit, and what they enjoyed about meeting with you. You want to document that, right? Because all of that is fodder for the negotiation that is to come, right? So you want to document anything they're saying about you, anything they're saying about your skill set, anything they're saying about what they enjoyed about you. You want to document that. That might say something like, we'd like to start with a salary of X, and we'd love for you to start on X date, and you'll be training with this team, and you'll be working in this office. Anything that they're saying on that call, you can just document that. Make sure you have a pen and paper out. If you don't, say, hey, can you hold on a second, Rwanda, let me grab a pen so that I can document what you're saying, right? Make sure you're taking notes. You're listening attentively to anything they say when they call and give that offer. And don't be afraid to ask clarifying questions in that call as well. So if they say, we want you to start, on the 3rd, and, we have a starting salary of this or a starting salary of that. Feel free to ask any clarifying questions that you might have. They might say, we want to start you with a starting salary of $133,000 annually. And you can say, on the job posting, I know that, the range was 140. So I just want to clarify that you're offering me 133 or whatever that is, right? So you can ask any clarifying questions when you get that initial call about the job offer. Now, let me be clear. The one question that you do not want to ask when you get a call about a job offer, the question you do not want to ask is this negotiable, right? You don't need to ask them if it's negotiable. Why? Because everything is negotiable. It's your job to negotiate any offer that you receive, right? So I really want to invite you to avoid, asking them, well, is this negotiable, or can we talk about this or this or that? This call is not the time for that. This call is a time for you to listen. They're calling you, they're giving you a job offer, they're giving you the details about, what they, want, why they want you, and why they chose you, and the details about starting and the salary. Now is not to ask, is this negotiable? Why? Because everything is negotiable. And what our responsibility is in this call is to document everything that they tell us about the job so that we can use that in our counter offer. We're going to work on a counter offer next. But in the initial call, when you get a job offer on the phone, that's not the time to ask, is this negotiable? Why? Because everything is negotiable. The start date, the salary, the location, everything is negotiable. Well, we will do that negotiating on the back end. This initial call is an opportunity for you to collect information, right? So again, when you get a job offer, typically, in today's landscape, employers are calling you over the phone. They're giving you that offer. So, you want to celebrate. You want to listen attentively, take notes on anything that they're sharing about the job offer. You can feel free to ask any clarifying questions. However, do not ask, is this negotiable? Because that doesn't even matter. Everything's negotiable. We're going to negotiate on the back end. And then, let them know that you're excited about their offer. Let them know, thanks so much, Rwanda. I really appreciate you calling me. I'm so thrilled to receive this offer. And I will review the offer, and I'll be following up with you in the next 72 hours with my decision, right? So again, you want to end that call when you get a job offer over the phone. You want to end that call by saying, thank you so much for giving me this offer. I'm so thrilled to know that I'm the top candidate and that you all are interested in me joining your team. I'll be following up with you in the next 72 hours with my decision, right? So we are not giving a yes. We're not giving a no. We're not, negotiating on that phone call. That is not what that phone call is for. Again, I repeat, when you get a job offer, that is not the time to negotiate over the phone. That's the time to collect information about why they want you to be a part of their team, what they're looking for in an employee, why they chose you. And your job is to smile and nod and say, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so thrilled that you want me to be a part of your team. I'm so honored that you saw so much value in my expertise, and you're looking forward to me leveraging that expertise to really help your organization solve your problems. I'll be following up with you in the next 72 hours with my decision, right? So again, the role is not to debate or negotiate or have a whole lot of conversations on the phone with employers when you get the initial offer. That's the time to take notes, to collect information, and then to take that back to build a counter offer. So again, And let me know if this is resonating with you. Just throw some hearts up on the screen if this is resonating, if this makes sense. If you are watching this and you're stable, grab a pen and paper. I am giving you high level strategy on how to negotiate like a pro. And I want you to be able to take this strategy into the next job offer so that you can actually negotiate successfully. If you're like, Ashley, I love this strategy around negotiating, but what I really need to know is how to get a job offer. Like, how do I get the jobs to offer me so I can negotiate? If that's where you're stuck, then you should schedule a call with me. So if that's where you are, if you're like, Ashley, yeah, the negotiation part is cute, but what I really need support with is getting the job offer on the front end. If that's where you're stuck, you can go right to my website and schedule a call with me. I'm accepting new mentees right now, and you can get that information on my website at mentor-me.org. Alrighty, so we've done the hard work to understand the first step, right? We get a job offer, we celebrate because we did that hard work. We listen on that call for the key components of the job, what they're telling us they want from us, why they want us, when they want us to start, what the initial starting salary is, the benefits, all those details are going to give that to us. We can ask any clarifying questions in that call, but we do not want to ask, is this negotiable? Because everything is negotiable, and we're going to build a counter offer after we get off the call. And then we want to conclude the call by saying, thanks so much, for sharing this opportunity with me. I'm so thrilled that you all want me to be a part of your team. I'll be following up with you in the next 72 hours with my decision, right? And then you hang up the phone. After you get off the phone, you can scream, you can call your girlfriends, you can call your boo, you can let everybody know, girl, I got the job, I got the job. You can get hyped, right? You can celebrate, we can pop bottles, wonderful. But none of that on the call. All of that happens after you hang up. Right? And now the hard work begins. So we've celebrated, we told our boo, we let everybody know we got the job offer, but our work is not done. Now it's time to counter offer, right? Now it's time to counter offer. So what does a counter offer look like? Number one, we need to think about all of the things that we should be negotiating in a counter offer, right? So I think, again, a lot of times when we talk about negotiating, people are like, okay, how do I negotiate a salary? How do I negotiate a salary? That's cute and that's good. And we should be negotiating every salary offer we receive, right? That's important. But there are so many other things that you should be negotiating in every job offer you receive. It's called total compensation, right? So when you think about, especially in the United States, with a job, typically jobs offer professional development. They're going to offer healthcare, mental health, physical health, dental, vision, childcare health. There's so much that, it's tied to the world of work in the United States. And so often people are leaving money on the table because they're not thinking about total compensation. They're only thinking about the salary. And yes, of course, we want to make a certain amount of money in our career. That's important. Cash rules everything around me, dollar bill, y'all. Like, I understand the concept. What I'm saying is that we want to make sure that we have thinking about total compensation so that we're not leaving any money on the table. So let's talk about the things that you should be negotiating in every single job offer. Okay, so the number one thing that you should be negotiating when you get a job offer is professional development, because your next job is likely not your last job, right? Your next job is likely not your last job. You're probably not going to work in this new job for the rest of your career. You're probably going to want to grow, change jobs, move up, move laterally, take on new opportunities, make more money over the course of your career. Your next job is not your last job. This is why in every job offer you receive, you want to negotiate professional development. I always tell my mentees that at a minimum, you should be negotiating a minimum of 5% of the base salary toward professional development. So for example, if you get a job offer and you get a job offer of $100,000, the minimum amount of professional development that you should receive every single year is a minimum of $5,000, right? You should receive a minimum of 5% of your total annual salary in professional development funds, right? And that should be funds for you to travel to conferences, to attend paid webinars, to go to workshops, to, present, whatever that is. At least 5% of the base salary should go towards professional development. If they don't tell you how much money you have for professional development, that's something that you should be negotiating in your counter offer, right? So I want to just make sure that we're capturing all of the things that you should be negotiating in every single job offer. And again, 5%, you should be negotiating a minimum of 5% of the total compensation. If the salary offer comes in at $50,000 annually, you should be negotiating a minimum of $2,500 every year for professional development, for conferences, for training, for, additional knowledge, to buy books, right? Like, you should be negotiating professional development at a minimum of 5% on every single job offer that you receive, right? So that's the first thing. Number two is travel, right? So, increasingly on these jobs, they'll have you working at multiple sites, right? Or you'll have to travel for training, or you'll have to travel for meetings. That travel should not be coming out of your pocket. As an employee, the organization should be paying for travel. So if you apply and secure a job that includes some type of travel, whether it's, going, I work with a lot of folks who, a lot of mentees who work in the nonprofit space, and they work, as case managers and, things like that. And they have to travel to the courthouse and, see their clients, go on cases. All of that travel from the office to the courthouse and for paying for parking at the courthouse should be included in your total compensation. That means that your employer should be paying mileage to and from your office or to and from your home to wherever location you have to go to, and they should be paying for parking, right? Those are things that you can negotiate when you get a job offer, right? If you're working fully from home, right, and you're not having to travel, this may not be something that you need to consider. But if the employer requires you to come to the office for annual retreats or quarterly meetings or, travel here and there, then travel should be a part of what you're negotiating in total compensation, right? And really the amount of, travel that you receive is dependent upon the job and the role. And these are things that I go through in detail with my mentees when they're in my programs and they're receiving job offers. We'll really work on exactly how much they should be asking for in travel based on the job offers that they're receiving. But you should absolutely be negotiating a travel allowance or a travel per diem, or every time I have to travel, I'm documenting that and I'm requesting reimbursement or upfront pay for travel. It really kind of depends on the organization. But again, you should be negotiating travel in every job offer you receive that requires you to travel at some point in the role, right? So we talked about professional development. We talked about travel, time off, right? Time off is the next thing that you should be negotiating in every single offer. So, with many organizations, they have a time off policy, right? You get 20 days of paid vacation, you get 10 days of paid sick leave, you get 2 personal days and 2 mental health days, whatever. Every job, every organization is a little different. But those are things that you can negotiate, right? I think that a lot of times we just feel like, okay, well, they said, we get 15, paid vacation days, and that's just what it is. Absolutely not. You can negotiate time off. If you need, May 15th as a documented holiday or personal day, because that's the day, that's your birthday and that's your personal holiday, then you can negotiate that. You can negotiate vacation and paid time off in the initial counter offer, right? You do not have to wait and take a vacation day later and, hope that they give it to you off. You can negotiate vacation and paid time off in the initial offer, right? And I think that oftentimes, mentees are disgruntled or frustrated or feel overwhelmed or undervalued by organizations because they don't get the time off that they really need to be successful in the job. That rest and release time, they're not getting that. But those are things that you can negotiate when you get the initial offer, right? So we talked about professional development. We talked about travel. We've talked about time off. There's another set of benefits that I want to talk about that you should be negotiating in every single job offer offer, you should be negotiating things like parking and childcare. These are kind of called additional benefits, right? So let's say you have school-age children, and your employer, your employer may offer a childcare credit where they give you $200 or $2,500 or $5,000 or $6,000 toward daycare for all of those their employees. That may be a part of their overall compensation with like their healthcare plan and other benefits. But if it's not, it's something that you can negotiate. You can negotiate a childcare credit. And you can just write it in your counteroffer, right? This is not something you have to go back and forth with. If it's not, a paid benefit that they include in their benefits package, it's something that you can ask for. It's something that you can negotiate. It's something that you can say you need as a condition of your hiring. So again, you can negotiate childcare. You can also negotiate parking. Depending on where you work, sometimes parking fees can be $200, $300, $500 a month to park, right? These are things that, are cutting into your salary. And, you're thinking, oh yeah, I need to negotiate salary. I need an additional $2,000. I need an additional $5,000. That additional $2,000 is only going to pay for 4 months of parking. If parking is $500 a month. Right? This is why it's important to think about all of the things that you should be negotiating, right? Because often you're only thinking about, salary, or you're only thinking about professional development, but there's so many other things that can cut into how much you earn, which means we need to be negotiating all of these things. Some other things that you want to negotiate are work schedules, right? A flexible work schedule, right? So increasingly, mentees are saying, hey, Ashley, I want to be fully remote. Hey, Ashley, I need a hybrid schedule. Ashley, I need a flex schedule. That's more and more common in today's marketplace. That's more and more common among today's employees. More employees, more now than ever, are, asking employers for flexible work schedules. And more now than ever, employers are giving those things. But those are things that you can negotiate in the job offer. Those are things that you can ask for. You can say, I need a flexible work schedule that's going to prioritize me being able to work remotely a minimum of 2 full-time days a week, right? You can say, I need a remote work schedule that allows me Mondays and Tuesdays to work remotely, to have Wednesday as a swing day, depending on when I'm needed in the office, and Thursday and Fridays, I'll be fully in present in the office, right? Those are things that you can negotiate in the counter offer. Regardless of how the job was posted, regardless if they said it's remote or hybrid or whatever it is, you can request that, right? And so if that's something that's important to you, if that's a value of yours, you can negotiate a flexible work schedule. You can also negotiate technology, right? I remember I started in a role and I was like, oh, I'm a Mac user. I understand that y'all use PCs here, HPs here, Dells here, but your girl needs an Apple MacBook Pro. And that's something that I negotiated in my initial offer, right? I knew that it was important for me to have compatibility between my cell phone and my work computer, being able to transfer files. And I didn't want to have to deal with, having to have an HP over here and having to have an iPhone over here and having to, deal with connecting cords. I didn't want to deal with all of that. So one of the things that you can negotiate in every job offer you receive is the kind of technology that you receive. Maybe you need, a cell phone for your work. Maybe you need a MacBook. Maybe you are a PC girl and you need a PC. Maybe you need a second monitor. Maybe you need an ergonomic chair. Maybe you need a walking desk, a standing desk. I don't know. But you can negotiate technology in your offer, right? You don't have to wait till you get on the job and then you're begging, for an ergonomic chair, right? Or, a cushion for your butt in your seat, right? You can ask for those things. You can negotiate those things in the initial offer so that when you get that offer, you're letting the employer know what it's going to take to secure you as an employee. You can also negotiate additional resources, funding, and staff. This is one of my favorite things to negotiate in job offers is additional staff, right? So let's say, you were in this interview and you really like this role, you like the company, you feel like it's a good fit for you. But as you were interviewing, you recognize that this is a big job. oh, like the administrative assistant role in this, that supports this role has been vacant for 3 months. Oh, that. You can like sometimes when you're in an interview, you can recognize that, like, yeah, they need you, but they gonna need some other support too, because, it ain't enough to just hire me, girl. I'm gonna need some administrative assistant, or I'm gonna need, an assistant director, or I'm gonna need, some additional staff. I'm going to need a bigger budget. What y'all talking about? I'm going to need a bigger budget, right? You can start to recognize that in the interview. So you can counter offer. In your counter offer, when you receive the initial offer, you can counter to say, in addition to, a condition of me accepting this role would be that I have the budget and capacity to hire an administrative assistant within the first 90 days of me starting the role, right? Those are things that you can negotiate in your counter offer, right? And that's going to really set you up for success, because the last thing you want to do is start in a new role under-resourced, understaffed, and underfunded. Right? You don't want to start in a new role backwards. You don't want to start in a new role and not be set up for success. So, in order for you to set yourself up for success, I invite you to counter offer resources. I invite you to counter offer staffing. I invite you to counter offer, the budget, right? Like, you can counter that. And those are things that you can ask for. And then finally, right, the piece of resistance, right, the thing that everybody wants to know, of course, that you can negotiate salary, right? You can always negotiate salary. You receive a job offer, they're going to offer you a certain salary. You can always negotiate that. I will tell you that on average, my mentees see the most success negotiating somewhere between 8 and 15% on top of the base offer. My mentees have seen higher success than that. So they've seen when they counter offer, they've seen higher than 15%, but on average, my mentees get the most yeses when they negotiate somewhere between 8 and 15% on the base offer. And so what I say to this is why it's always important to do your research before you apply to the job, because yes, you can negotiate salary. You should be negotiating salary. Every time you get a counter offer, you should be negotiating salary and every other thing that I said. But we want to make sure that, if you want to make $130,000 in your next role, but the top salary range for the job you applied for is 70, don't be mad at me when you're like, well, I followed Ashley's negotiation strategy and I didn't get, a $60,000 salary increase from the top of the range that the job was posted. Like, girl, don't be delusional. Right? Like, I tell people all day that on average, my mentees see about a $30,000 salary increase after working with me. That's something I can promise day in and day out, that my mentees see massive success in working with me, about a $30,000 salary increase from the time that they start working with me, from the time that they end with me, right? But if you're applying for a job and they have a posted job that they say the top of their range is $70,000, and you need to make $130,000 to meet your needs, that's not a job that you should apply for. Negotiations be damned. That's not a job that you should apply for, right? So of course, I always encourage you to negotiate, but it's important that you're applying for roles that are aligned with your salary expectations to begin with, so that all the hard work doesn't have to go on negotiating. In general, my mentees see yes, when it comes to negotiating somewhere between 8 and 15%. But once you get outside that 15%, the job is also wondering, like, why did you apply for this job if you want to make $30,000 outside of our salary band? Like, that doesn't make sense, right? So just make sure that you're being strategic, that you're being smart, that you're being intentional. And then now that you know, right, all of the things that you can negotiate, now that you know all of the things that you should be considering when you negotiate, the thing that I want to kind of walk you through is what to say in that counter offer. So that's going to be the last part of today. So let's kind of walk through that. Basically, in the counter offer, you would say something like, hi, Romania, thanks so much for sharing the offer to work with your team. I'm so excited to leverage my expertise in this organization to help you all, grow and maintain clients, or increase, student affinity and success, or, to grow your accounts by 200 over the next year, whatever they said they wanted to do, right? Here are a few items that I'd like to further discuss as a counter to the initial offer that you gave me. And then you outline every single thing that you are counter offering, right? You want to always start with you want to end with salary, right? So you counter everything else that you want to counter, and then you end with salary. So maybe you want to counter the start date. Maybe they wanted you to start on Monday and you're like, no, I can't start till June 1st, right? So you want to counter the start date. Maybe you want to counter the materials. They said, they would give you a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse, and you're like, I need 2 monitors and I need a laptop and I need an iPad. You can counter the technology. Maybe you want to counter the benefit. Maybe you need 2 additional paid days off, and you need a break between December 24th and January 2nd, right? You need all that time off. You can counter that in the counter offer. You can counter travel. Maybe they said that you were only going to get $3,000 worth of professional development, but you're going to need 5, right? So you can negotiate that. Whatever, all those things that you want to negotiate, you negotiate that in writing, in an email, right? In writing, in an email, and then you end your counter offer with the salary, right? So you want to end that counter offer with the salary. The salary part should go something like, given my expertise with X, Y, and Z, whatever your expertise is related to the role, a counter offer of X would be most aligned with my skill sets and expectations related to this role, and you just list what that number is. So you hit period, you hit send, and you send that off to the employer to let them know that you're officially submitting your counter offer, and then the ball's in their court, right? That gives them an opportunity to review that counter offer. That gives them an opportunity to discuss it with whoever they need to discuss it with, hiring manager, HR, the finance department, whoever they need to discuss it with, and then they'll come back with their final decision. And from there, you can say, yes, I'll take the job. No, I won't take the job. Yes, we can continue to negotiate. So all of those, you can continue that conversation. But that's how you negotiate like a pro. No more of this, they call you, yes, I'll take the job. Yes, I'm ready to start tomorrow. Like, no. That's a red flag. On that initial call, you need to be listening. You need to be taking notes. You take all of that information back. You build a counter offer asking for all of the things that you want. You put that counter offer in writing. You email it back, and you allow them the opportunity to review the things that you desire based on their initial offer, and then you all continue the conversation from there. Know that this conversation doesn't have to be adversarial. It doesn't have to be, angry. This is not, asking for too much. A lot of times mentees will, well, I don't want to ask for too much. Why you don't want to ask for too much? Because they're going to ask for you for too much when they give you this job. They're going to say other duties as assigned when they give you this job. So you might as well ask for whatever it is that you want to ask for, sweet pea. Go ahead and ask for whatever it is that you want to ask, right? Because it's simply an ask. They can say no. They can say, no, we can't do that. Or no, we can't. They're not going to rescind the job offer because you asked for an additional 2 days off, right? That's not going to happen. So you don't have to worry about that. Just ask for what you want. Say it with your chest. And make sure that you're advocating for yourself, right? Because if you don't advocate for yourself when the ball is in your court, when you have all the power, you're certainly not going to advocate for yourself when you're depending on them for your livelihood. So the time for you to say it with your chest, the time for you to advocate for yourself, the time for you to stand up for yourself and really negotiate like a pro is when you get that initial offer. I'm here to make sure that you're prepared to negotiate like a pro. And if you know this was beneficial to you and you want to go deeper in strategy with me around really elevating your career, then I invite you into mentorship. I'm accepting new mentees right now, and I'm excited to work with you to help you make more money and have more impact in your career. You can schedule a call with me right on my website for free at mentor-me.org. That's mentor-me.org. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.